Hello, Bolt fans, and welcome to another episode of ChargersCast. We really appreciate you engaging with the podcast. This week, we've got a lot to talk about, so we're not going to do too much here on the introduction. But for those that follow ChargersCast, you guys know ChargersCast is a podcast about our beloved Los Angeles, formerly San Diego, Chargers. And it's everything Chargers, by fans, for fans. So we really appreciate you hanging out with us and talking Chargers ball. As you guys can see, I've got my buddy and friend of the podcast and the man behind Chargers District, Brennan Isham, with me again this week. We had some scheduling conflicts the last couple weeks, but it's good to have Brennan back. And Brennan, it's always good to see your face, my friend, especially when you are adorned in Chargers attire.
Heck yeah, good to be back on the pod, especially after a good win against division rivals. So it's going to be good to talk about the Chargers and got a good amount to talk about. So it's good to be back on.
Yeah, should be a lot of good stuff to talk about after kind of what we just went through with the Jaguars butt whooping and then coming out of a bye week. So we are going to cover the Week 13 home game against our division rival Raiders. It's amazing how Raiders fans can talk shit when they're in the toilet, they're in the cellar, and they bring up, Lombardi trophies from 20, I haven't even looked, but I mean, I'm getting old. It's at least 20-something years that, it was it Gruden? Who was the last Super Bowl winning coach? No, Gruden. Gruden got recruited to Tampa and won the Super Bowl the year before. He lost it to the Tuck rule. It's been forever since they've won a Super Bowl. And if they want to play that game, hey, we won the 1960 championship. Yeah, it wasn't called the NFL back then. It was the AFL, but we all know the AFL was better than the NFL, so kiss it. I mean, if that's the way you're going to play the game. But, man, they were talking smack heading into this game. I appreciate the rivalry. I really do. The best man at my wedding was a Raiders fan, so please, Raiders fans, don't take it personal. It's all in good fun. We've got probably what I think is one of the best divisions, not just from what we've got today, but historically. It's a fun division to have rivalries with. I mean, I had a phone call. It was a few years ago now, but I was calling to deal with some, I don't know, it was a credit card issue or something. And guy picked up and I'm talking to him and I noticed he had a slight accent. I'm like, but he wasn't like, offshore accent. I'm like, hey, where are you from? He's like, I'm in Kansas City. I'm like, you Chiefs fan? He's like, yeah. So we had like a 5-minute discussion about the AFC West and the Chiefs. This is a few years ago. This is before the Chiefs were dominating the AFC West, by the way. But anyway, I digress. We need to get rocking on the pod. So we're going to talk about this Raiders game coming out of the bye week. And then we are going to talk a little bit about the upcoming first game in what Brennan termed a gauntlet as we head into the final 5 weeks of the season. There is not a team on our schedule that has a losing record going forward. The Chiefs are the worst of that bunch, and we know the Chiefs, you don't take those guys lightly, period, even if they're having a little bit of an off season. So lots to talk about here. Brennan, overall, how we kind of start high level. What did you make of this week's game against the Raiders?
I think we bounced back good. We beat a team we should have beat. I say this a lot, but in past regimes, it's never been like that, so it's good to win like that. Also sweep the Raiders 2 years in a row. It's awesome, especially since the last time they won a playoff game, I was 2 years old, and now I'm in my mid-20s. So it's very nice to see that, to see them get very flustered again, especially on the page, because It's a good rivalry, but a lot of chirping from a 2-14 or whatever, 2-whatever
Well,
team.
they're
So
2-9 now, right? Or are
yeah,
they 2-10
especially
now?
yeah, I've just been seeing funny things about how everybody's saying Gino has written back now after that viral Seahawks interview he had. But yeah, it was a really good win. Don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I think it was just same old, nothing too crazy happened. But I do think that we should have won this game. And we did. I don't think it's a game where we praise them like the week one where we beat the Chiefs in Brazil. To be honest, I could be a hater, but this is an impressive win for me. It didn't really boost our value or put down our value. It just kept us there because the Raiders are just the Raiders. So we were supposed to win. It goes good on our record, but yeah, that's pretty much the overall. What I got from it is we beat a team we should have beat, regardless. So.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a great summary. Which, by the way, as you know, the tradition here on ChargersCast. I was just getting a little parched from the intro there, so I better crack this bad boy open. And check this out too. By the way, I'll share this with you real quick. Can you see that?
Oh, that's sick.
Koozie? Can you read that backwards? Or is it forwards for you? It's backwards for me.
Oh, it's good for me.
This talk about a throwback. This is San Diego Chargers koozie that they were giving away for free at Qualcomm way back in the day. And a buddy of mine who's a Dolphins fan had gone to a Dolphins Chargers game at Qualcomm, got some of these for free, and he's been holding it for me for 6 months. He's like, dude, I was cleaning out my garage and I found this. So cheers to the throwback koozie. All right. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I have in my notes is coming out of the bye. This team has been inconsistent. I threw out the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, I think is a good example or a good, acronym or whatever. We took care of business. We came out of the bye. We looked pretty sharp, all things considered. We beat a team we should have beaten, especially coming out of the bye. They're an inferior opponent, and it's a division game, so you can't just say they're an inferior opponent because division games you can almost throw the records out. But you still got to play the games, and so we took care of business with these guys, shut them up, swept them, and took care of business. Like I said, this is the last opponent, so we had to really take care of this game. Because this is the last opponent that you can look at the schedule for the remaining 5 weeks and go, that one should be a W. All these others, you're like, I could see us losing those games. Now, I can see us winning them, but it's not like you're going, that one is definitely a dub. And so it was good to see us come out of a bye week after getting embarrassed by the Jags and taking care of business. And we dominated this thing too, by the way. I mean, it wasn't even really close. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of statistics this podcast, but total yards, first downs, third downs, time of possession. I mean, you go look at all those statistics and you go, yeah, you know who won that game, period. You just look at the stats and you're like, you don't even need to look at the score. Yeah, I know who won that game. We dominated it. So it was pretty sweet. The team looked rested. They looked prepared, which was nice because they did not look prepared in Jacksonville at all. So that was really, when you're coming out of a bye, you got 2 weeks. If you aren't prepared, man, you better fire that coaching staff. And you know what I'm saying? You got 2 weeks. This is the NFL, and you've got an opponent that's inferior. You better come out and take care of your business. And we did. And so that was really good to see, because with this team right now, man, you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. So that's kind of my analysis too. Big picture.
Yeah. Another thing I took from this is probably the healthiest that was the cleanest injury report I've seen since week 2. So that was nice to see. Looks like we're going to get Abonia back either this week or 100% next week. And then I've been seeing a lot that Martin Hampton's expected to be back. We'll get into that a little more. But
Yep.
so it was nice to be a little healthier. But honestly, the biggest takeaway for me right there is obviously everybody's talking about is Herbert's injury. So that can definitely very affect us. I think they're making a good game plan with Trey Lance when it comes to him with goal line. Herbert's a big dude, but people don't realize Trey Lance is also a big dude. And his best ability is his legs. So why use Justin Herbert in the tush push when the tush push teams know it's going to happen, when you can run a cool trick play or a pretty intelligent play with Trey Lance for like a 3rd and goal, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 type of thing. So I think they got a good game plan, but if he doesn't fully play, that's a very big concern, and that goes in with this Raider game because regardless of what we accomplished when it came to the O-line, because it was better than usual, he still got injured by getting hit because he had pressure on him. He got hit because he had to roll out of the pocket, try to run, and do things that he didn't need to do if his O-line just protected him.
Yeah, you covered a lot there, and everything you covered is kind of in things I wanted to cover in the pod. I mean, we can go straight to the elephant in the room if you want with Justin's injury. For me personally, I didn't look at that injury as a breakdown personnel-wise or scheme-wise. That was just an NFL injury. You know what I'm saying? He just got tackled. And when his hand hit the ground, I guess it was violent enough that it's my understanding they were saying it was a bone in the back of his hand. So back in there. And I guess he had surgery, was it today or yesterday?
Yes.
He had surgery. Supposedly it went well. But yeah, I have heard that they're preparing. They're hopeful Justin's going to be able to play. It's his, non-throwing hand. But they want to limit contact as much as possible, and so they're preparing for short yardage downs with Trey, which I think is smart. But as a layperson, a fan for a long time, watched a lot of football, but still a layperson, I don't do this for a job, X's and O's. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, and they should be thinking it too, you would think, well, you're going to have to mix that up because you can't just have Trey come in for every short yardage play and they're going, oh, it's another short yardage play, right? So they got to mix that up a little bit and, throw a little bit out there where it's going to keep a defense off balance, especially one like, Philly. So that'll be interesting to see. But I was talking about it last week. On last week's pod, I'm sitting there going, we're sitting in the bye week. Let's kind of take a step back and what should be our goals for the rest of the season. And I kind of had goal 1A and 1B. 1A was let's make the damn playoffs because that's what we're all here for. But number 2 was let's make sure Justin does not get seriously injured that could jeopardize his ability to start week 1 in 2026. And so I don't think that's happened. I think this is, this is manageable, knock on wood. But it was a little bit of a wake-up call that, Justin's getting hit a lot, and we need to protect him better than we have. So we'll see how this plays out. But I think it's a good transition into, and I don't think we need to belabored a whole lot, but into the O-line, and specifically Jamari starting at left tackle. Personally, and again, I don't make millions of dollars doing this stuff, and I sure wish the heck I did. But you go back for weeks and weeks and weeks. I mean, the beginning of the season, I've been calling for Jamari to be our left tackle ever since Alt went down. He's proven. He's a proven commodity back in 23. Was it 23? 23, 22. When Slater went down and Jamari was a rook. And as a rookie, he came in and he played left tackle in college exclusively, I believe. And they brought him in and kind of made him a guard because of his measurables. But the guy can play left tackle, and he's proven it. And I'm sitting here going, why aren't they giving the guy a shot? Is it his measurables? Is he not speaking up in the O-line room? Is it his O-line coach who doesn't have faith in him? Whatever. Well, he got the start, and besides Slater and Alt, I would argue he's played the best left tackle of anybody that started that position this season, other than Joe Alt. And it showed. Look at that run by Kamani. There were a couple really good blocks on that, one by Trey. But if Salyer doesn't pull out there and get that kick-out block, Kamani's not getting that touch. I mean, he played a really good game. And by the way, go back and watch that. He kept Justin relatively clean, and he wasn't getting a lot of help over there, by the way. So it was very encouraging as we head into the rest of this season that we might start getting this O-line figured out as best we can.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, I wanted to say that about Herbert because that's the biggest thing, regardless of what people say or like my opinions, he's our team. He's our franchise. He's been since 2020. If that guy goes down, we're not gonna win it. And that's the whole premise of the NFL National Football League is you want to win a Super Bowl. So we got to keep him healthy going into the O-line. I love Jamari Slater. Well, Jamari, regardless, he was killing it this year. A couple of those guys like him, Bobby Hart, I felt like they weren't giving them a shot too much, but once they finally gave them a shot, they were kind of taking it and running away with it. So I'm glad that he's there. I'm curious to see if they're going to make any more adjustments when it comes to the O-line, or if they're going to try to keep that same unit. Because personally, I think you should keep the same unit. Switching is just going to keep getting worse.
Personally, I would swap out Pip in a heartbeat for Bobby Hart.
Is he still injured?
I think he's still injured, but the moment he's available, and again, I'll say this over and over again, I think Pip's awesome as a human being and as a backup swing tackle, but Hart came in off the street and I believe played right tackle better than Pip. I'll leave that to more knowledgeable X and O's guys than me, but as Harbaugh says it all the time. Who do we play? We play the players who play the best. How do you know who plays the best? You will see it with your eyes. And
yeah, he's still a probably.
And by the way, Pip is Max Crosby's bitch, dude. Max Crosby owns him. I was so glad to see that Crosby did not line up over him the entire game. But he lined up over there enough to see Pip whiff multiple times. Now, granted, Max Crosby's probably one of the best pass rushers, and he's definitely got the best motor in the game, but he's right up there as one of the best pass rushers in the game, and so that's no easy task, granted, but I would think right tackle. I don't know about center. I think that's an off-season move. I thought I should have been last off-season's move. I appreciate him giving Zion another season, but Zion has not impressed me, even though his measurables are off the charts. And Mackay, if he can just stay healthy, he's just been nicked up all season. So, that's probably our biggest question mark going into this gauntlet of the last 5 weeks of the season is how is this O-line going to hold up? But it's a nice transition into the other talking point I had about this week, which is let's talk about our running game. Okay, you cannot run the ball without an offensive line creating holes. And by the way, it's not like we've got, LaDainian Tomlinson lining up in the backfield right now. Our boys put a hurting on the Raiders in our running game. We put up almost 200 yards. Kamani had 126. Now, half of that was all in that one run. But Kamani proved, which I thought he's always had in him and he hasn't gotten a chance, is he's got a second gear. So for a guy who's 5'8", 220, which, by the way, how'd you like to hit him in the hole? Okay, you can't see him, and then boom, you're getting blasted. But he's got a second gear. Once he did that jump cut and got around that last dude, it's like nobody's catching him. Nobody is catching him. So imagine when O'Marion comes back, which I don't know. I haven't heard if he's for sure back this week. But my goodness, what a 1-2 punch that would be. 1-2-3 punch, because Jared Patterson is no slouch. That guy had a awesome college career, and he is more than capable of spelling either one of those two guys. It was an impressive running game, and I think that is the recipe this time of year to get us where we want to go. And so hats off to Giro, hats off to the O-line, hats off to the RBs, sticking with it and making it pay dividends. It was just a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, I agree. This is going to be a little bit of a hot take, but I've said this in other podcasts. They're killing it. Huge props to Jared Patterson. He's a beast. I remember when I was a little kid and he scored like 8 touchdowns in one game in Buffalo. That was pretty cool. But even though it was a garbage time tutty, that was a good tutty. And he broke a run on the right side for a really good run. And that's all you need from an RB2 just to help the RB1 a little bit. But what I was going to say, I wanted to give them praises a little bit, but I'm glad Amari and Hampton's coming back because they're not going to like this, but I challenge someone to call me out on this. Kamani Vidal has only popped off with lines that are in the 20s ranked, like ranked 22nd, 20-something, when it comes to the overall team, too. When we either lose or play good teams, he has a very lackluster performance. I've seen a tweet. They said he either gets 20 carry or 9 carries, 20 yards, or 20 carries and 100 yards. Well, a lot of that is because he's playing harder teams. I understand he's popping off and he's finally getting a chance, but it's going to be good to see Amari Hampton back because, in my opinion, he can have a great game every game, no matter who it is. He's that talented. Kamani Vidal needs a little help. I'm not taking away from what he's done. Thank you, Kamani, for helping us out. But it's going to be good to get Mari and Hampton back because go watch back a couple of games where we got BTA, both ass. He didn't really do too much. I know it's the line too, but Amari Hampton's a big RB, so it's going to be good to get him back in the backfield for sure.
Well, Omarion was drafted in the first round for a reason.
Yep. Kamani was a sixth for a reason.
Yeah, it wasn't a slight on Kamani at all.
Yeah.
It just was what it was. But Kamani has been given an opportunity, and I think he seized it. The only thing I would say is, and you mentioned it, he doesn't have Joe Alt anymore, and he hasn't had Rashawn all season. You put those two guys back in, and I suspect Kamani would have had better games against some of those better defensive lines. Just going to say, they probably would have created some better holes for him against some of the better D-lines. But you can never have enough weapons. So the sooner O'Marion gets back and brings his skill set of speed and strength, and combine that with Kamani clearly got the speed, okay, and we know he's got the strength too. So I think he's going to be an excellent complement to a Marion. And by the way, he's got good hands out of the backfield. Do you remember his very first play as a rook last season?
Broncos.
Swing pass, caught the tail end of the ball and ran it in for a touch. First catch as a pro. So the kid's got skills. I don't think he should be inactive. This is my point, and I said it last week on the pod. Makes no sense that he should be inactive the rest of the season. Doesn't matter who else they have in the running back room. And I would probably make that case for Jarrett Patterson too. Now, when Hassan comes back, I suspect he'll get back into his RB 2-3 role. Period.
Yeah.
Just, it is what that is. But it was really nice to see this running game, and I think that's, if you're going to look for the formula that's going to allow us to get through these last 5 games, punch our ticket to the playoffs, whether that's a wild card or we win the division, and we can talk about that too as we wrap up the pod here. The running game is going to be absolutely critical, especially this time of year when you're going to cold weather places. You got to be able to run the rock
And have a QB with a disabled robo left hand.
Yeah, yeah. And it's the way Harbaugh and Giro prefer to lead anyway, is lead with the run and then kind of dagger you with a pass. And so it was really nice to see coming out of the bye that they committed to the run. They excelled at the run. And, I mean, it showed in time of possession. The time of possession, we just dominated by 10-plus minutes. So, beautiful thing. I don't know if there's anything more you want to add on Herbert's injury at this point. It's kind of a wait and see this week to, see how he's doing. But knowing Herbert the way we know Herbert at this point, they'll probably cast that thing up. So it'll be nice and hard. In other words, whatever stitches he's got there aren't going to get ripped open. And, he's dealt with this before. Was it 2 seasons ago where he had like both hands in gloves? He looked like Edward Scissorhands, and he's still playing QB. So I suspect he'll be out there. It's gonna have to be worse than that. It'd have to be like an injury to his throwing hand to keep him out of there. It's kind of like Baker Mayfield. His non-throwing shoulder was dislocated, and he still roughed it out. And he was back again next week. I think Justin he'll be there, when they kick off here on Monday Night Football against the Eagles. Yeah, that's kind of it I had. I really didn't want to belabor this game a whole lot. It was what we wanted it to be, what we expected it to be, and that's all you could ask for at this point with all the Chargers' inconsistencies is come out of the bye and perform like you would expect they would perform against a team that's 2-9.
Yeah. The last thing I have to say about this game is 2 unsung heroes. Number 1, this game fully solidified it. If one of them puts Tony Jefferson ever again in his lifetime on the practice squad, they should be fired. I will personally go over there and tell him you need to get fired because that dude, every time he gets a chance to go on the field, he makes a play every single time. Every single time. People, I just don't understand I get it with roster moves. Do that with someone else, guys. He's too good by doing that. If you put him on the practice squad, someone's going to pick him up immediately. You don't think so? Guarantee you. I can name 15 teams right now that need a safety. So amazing interception, great play of the game. He needs to stay. Him, RJ, Derwin, and Elijah, those 4 guys are solid in my opinion. That's all we need. And the last guy, dude, he's killing it right now. Trey Harris, man.
Yeah.
That block, he's like every play he gets, he reminds me of like a what was his name? Michael Thomas, I think, on the Saints. They called him
Yeah.
Slant Boy. Trey Harris. They love giving him those slants, but man, it works. He's turned into like almost like a third and Keenum, dude. He's picking up those first downs. Last game, he stretched one out for the first down. He's blocking his ass off every game to get on the field. I get it. Jamari was a big play there, but Kamani would have got tackled if Trey Harris didn't make those blocks either. And mind you, he is a wide receiver making these plays. Not even the tight ends, not even the fullbacks. Like, so I like his work ethic, and you can tell that he's like really caring about it, because we heard a lot about KLS early on in the season, but you can tell Trey Harris wants it. Like, you can tell he wants it more than some of the other rookie receivers and receivers that we have. Because when KLS was in, when a couple of the receivers was out, he wasn't going in there to block. Trey Harris voluntarily wants to block so he can get on the field and play. And I respect that. And I think he's going to be a really, really good addition for us, especially in the next coming seasons, especially when the inevitable happens with Keenan. He can kind of take that step up. So,
Yeah, I don't know if you can say too much about what Trey's doing. If you guys haven't gathered by now, I am not a fan of prima donna wide receivers. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of wide receivers, especially really good wide receivers, but not prima donnas. And I think it goes all the way back to JJ, John Jefferson, when he started whining and bitching. He wanted more money, and Gene Klein traded him to the Packers. And to this day, in interviews, JJ's like, it was the stupidest thing I ever did. I should have stayed with Fouts and Coryell, and I'd be in the Hall of Fame right now. Instead, he went and chased a couple bucks, which I get it, you know. Y'all want to get your bag of money, but you also want the fame and the glory too, right? And so you've got the second-round pick, and he lit it up in college, and he's coming in, and he grabbed a lunch pail and a hard hat, and he's gone to work, and he's willingly blocking. And yeah, he's doing everything right to become the heir apparent. It's going to be, the day's going to come, it's going to be he and Ladd. It's going to be he and Ladd, and whoever else is going to be that third guy. And so he's setting himself up perfectly, and building that trust with Justin and building that trust with the coaches. And Kamadi would not have gotten that long touch if either of those guys, Salyer or Trey, didn't make their blocks. It was, run blocking is like a ballet, man. It's like everybody's got to be working in unison and be in the right spots. And it was a thing of beauty. And then, like I said, Kamani beat two guys. One guy threw the first hole, and then that jump cut on that other guy made him whiff. And when he kicked in that second gear, it was like, oh.
that jump cut was awesome.
Yeah, that guy was like, oh, I think I took a bad angle. I didn't know he was that fast. And then he turned on the burners, and it was a thing of beauty. A well-orchestrated running game can be as rewarding as a fan as, in fact, I would argue even more so than a potent passing game, because you watch them wear down and just extinguish the will of the other team when they know what you're going to do and they can't stop it, and they're just getting physically beat up. There's something about that. Marty loved that. Marty was power left behind Dealman and McNeil, and it was he couldn't stop it. I mean, that's where LT got the record-setting touchdown, was power left, and they knew it was coming, and they still couldn't stop it. So it's a thing of beauty. That, I believe, is our recipe to get where we want to go. Like I said last pod, everything we want is still in front of us. It's just, last week, it was the worst feeling 7-4 I think I've ever seen of the Chargers. It was like, it didn't, especially coming off that Jags loss, right? It was like, I feel horrible about this 7-4, but we're 7-4, and we're in the playoffs, not just in the mix. We've got a slot as long as we hold serve, but it's just this team hasn't been super consistent, and so that running game I think is the cure for that, and we'll see how it shapes up. And then who was the other guy you brought up real quick? TJ. Unk.
Yep.
Last pod, you weren't here for this, and I don't know if you watched it all the way through, but I basically said the same thing you did, which is, don't you ever sit Unk again, okay? He has to be active every week. I don't care, take Tucker Fisk and sit him. Keep Will Dissly, sit. I hate to say it about Matlock, sit Matlock. Whatever the case may be, but if you're deciding who you're sitting and who you're not, don't sit Unk, man. He's too important. Even if he's not on the field, but he's actively participating in the defense, his years of knowledge and skill and what he brings to that whole unit is, you can't just measure it in statistics. But yeah, that was one hell of an INT. Nobody else makes that INT. It was all anticipation on his part. He basically said in the interview, he says, I took a chance. I saw what I saw, and I started bolting over that way, and I was in the right spot at the right time when that ball got tipped.
Yep.
Thing of beauty. So don't sit Unk. If you guys are ever looking at this podcast, which you probably never do, but don't sit Unk.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Ever again.
Never again. Not this season anyway. Next season, it's a whole nother ball game. We don't know what that roster is going to look like, but this season, he's too valuable to what we want to accomplish to have him in street clothes on the sideline. So don't do it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's chat a little bit about where we're at before we head into this Phillies game as far as, the season. We came out of the bye. We took care of business. We're sitting at 8-4. Like I said, it's an ugly 8-4. I don't quite know who these Chargers are and what we're going to get from week to week. We're 2 games behind the Donkeys, and my God, they're getting lucky this season. I mean, who in their right mind calls that last play and then throws it right into Nick Benito's hands? I mean, juke the guy. Come on, man. Juke the guy. And then your running back's wide open. You just don't, that's why I guess Marcus Mariota's backup quarterback. But he played a hell of a game, by the way. Marcus did. But we're 2 games behind the Donkeys, and my God, that's a lucky 10-2 team. I still think they're vulnerable, personally. They're not dominating. They're just scratching and clawing their way to that 10-2 record. We're 2 games ahead of the Chiefs, which is really nice, and we got a game with them in 2 weeks in Arrowhead. And as we sit, we're currently the 5th seed, and everything we want is still ahead of us. So, I think we should be excited as Chargers fans about what we've got going on here the rest of the season. It's not going to be dull. That's for sure. I mean, like I said, you don't know what you're going to get from week to week. So buckle up, put your seatbelts on. If you don't have seatbelt on your couch, go install them, and, get your popcorn. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I know it's like a ugly 8-4, but I always tell people I usually keep it cool on Instagram, but I've been telling people, do you want me to send you back to the Lynn era, the McCoy era, or the Staley era? Like, be happy we're 8-4. It could always be worse. The fact that the Chiefs
could be
are
4-8.
6-6,
Yeah,
that's a blessing.
4-8. We're 8-4.
I mean, that's, yeah. So, exactly. So, regardless of the injuries or some of the games we've had, we're 8-4. We've had some good wins against some teams. 2 years ago, we would be lucky to be 8-4. We were crying to get 8-4 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. We only started being good again yet last year. I don't count that playoff tenor with Staley because that game was the most embarrassing game ever. Probably shouldn't have made the playoffs at that point. So he, this is like last year and this year it's way different. So I just want to tell the fans, be thankful. It could be worse. It could be way worse. I'm telling you, especially with our O line, it could be
Right.
way worse.
Well, I will reiterate another thing I said last week, which is, and I might get some hateful comments down below for this, and that's fine. But when you consider the state of our O line, we lost our RB1 and RB2, and we're sitting at 8-4. That's a hell of a coaching job. Despite all the inconsistencies, which some of that is coaching, some of that is execution on the part of the cobbled together team, to be 8-4 in the NFL with what we've gone through, and every team's going through their fair share of injuries too. It's a hell of a coaching job, and I'll reiterate it again this week too. This is just a gut feeling. Maybe it's hopeful, maybe it's my heart and not my gut, but I believe in all of Jim Harbaugh's coaching career, I believe his best coaching is still ahead of him. And part of that, I think, is because he's got Justin Herbert, which he's never had a Justin Herbert before, ever. And then, guess what? Justin Herbert, if they can stay healthy, he's got 2 all-pro stud tackles. That is a tremendous arsenal to build a championship team around. And so the arrow's pointing up, okay, is the bottom line. Now we've got a gauntlet, and we need to get into this. We've got a gauntlet these last 5 weeks, which it's going to be really super fun if you appreciate football. I was telling you, I wish every single game it was just I could kick back on the couch and we beat every team by 40 points and we go 17-0.
Yeah.
But that's in the fantasy world. Okay, the reality is every week you just don't know what the outcome is going to be. And so let's enjoy this as Chargers fans. We are not in the Staley era. We are not in the Mike McCoy era. We are not and this is going to go back a little ways. We are not in the Craig Wellahan or the Moses Moreno at quarterback era. Okay. I can go on and on and on about the down eras of the Bolts. The arrow's pointing up big time. And so, last comment before we roll into Philly. How about those all Navy unis? 2-0? 2-0. If you just made that helmet white, 0-2. Change the helmet to Navy, 2-0. And I had a little exchange with Matt Money. I'm like, telling Money, we should make those our new main uni. He's like, well, I like the powders. I'm like, I get it. I like the powders too. But if you're going to ask me which powders are my favorite, it's the powders that LT and Gatesy and those guys wore that were actually reminiscent of the 1960s Bambi era powder unis. Those were badass powder unis. So make that our alternate and make this our main uni. And throw the white pants in so you got that 90s era going on. I'm sold. I'm sold. I love them. I love them. They're sweet.
Yeah. It is funny how you can just switch a helmet and you go from 0-8 to 2-0 with the with them. So they're clean. I personally would love white pants on them. I think that would be like the Philip
That's the
Rivers
'90s, dude.
DCOT days. So that would be cool. But yeah, I love those uniforms. They're probably one of the cleanest in the NFL. After after the success of these and after the fail of the yellows, I don't think we're gonna see the yellows ever again.
Dude, they should burn those banana uniforms and never wear them again.
Yeah.
Period.
Maybe the yellow jersey, but I don't know about all yellow.
The yellow jersey with the powder
Yeah.
pants, or vice versa, the powder jersey and the yellow pants. That's a sweet uni. I mean,
Yeah.
and the one they rolled out this year too. Not to get too much into unis, but the one with the powder pants and the white jersey, which is brand new this season.
Clean.
That's a super clean.
I like the
uni,
all
man.
whites too.
Oh well, you can never go wrong with the all whites.
Yeah.
Never go wrong. I mean, you could basically slap a lightning bolt on just about anything, and it looks freaking good. But
Yeah.
these all navies though, 2 in a row, and they're pretty sweet. So I just had to comment because if you remember, last season, we were talking about those friggin' all navies with the white helmet. And I'm like, no, man, we haven't won a single game in those. It's time to scrap them. And it's weird, superstition. I don't know, call it whatever you want to call it. But 0-8 in those, 2-0 in these. We'll leave it there. We'll just let that lie there for a little while. And let's roll into week 14. We have a home game on Monday Night Football against the defending Super Bowl champs, who, by the way, happen to have the same record as our Chargers at 8-4. So they are not quite dominating, but I would say they are still as lethal as they were back then. The league is a little bit onto their tush-push shenanigans as far as their false starting, which gave them an advantage with that whole play to begin with, because what's the old saying? The low man wins, right? So if you get that false start and you get underneath that D line, so the league's onto that and they're watching that closer. But a lethal opponent, and going to be super, super interested in, okay, we got embarrassed in Jacksonville. We had the bye. We regrouped, licked our wounds, got a little healthier. Of course, we've got Justin's injury now. Hopefully it's not too much of a factor. Took care of business against the lowly Raiders. What Chargers team's showing up on Monday Night Football? Now, we're undefeated in primetime this season, so that bodes well. What say you, Mr. Isham?
Say that again?
What are your thoughts on us heading into this game?
So one thing you like to say a lot, I'm going to give some advantages, is it's always bad from going from West Coast to East Coast. I agree. It's way worse from going to West Coast to East Coast. However, I do think no matter what, as a strain, I personally have done it 3 times in the last year. It sucks. Going from going from the East Coast to West Coast. I've done it 3 times. That sucks. So it's home for us. Those are 2 big advantages already. Saquon is still Saquon, but he's having a down year. No one can tell me he's not. Compare his stats from all the way up to week 13 last year and this year, and he's killing them. He almost had 2,000 yards already at this point. So he and notoriously, we know that Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown are not one of those top 5 wide receiver QB duos. They can never seem to get on the same page for more than maybe 1 touchdown and a couple catches. So I think this is a very winnable game. I don't know if you guys remember the game we played against them. I think it was 2022. But it was a really good game. Herbert versus Hurts. It was all the way down to the wire. I think we may have won that game too. Um, but they were still good at that time. So I think if we just play perfect, not even perfect football, if we play how our identity wants to be, the run game, how we kind of did it last week, and the O-line keeps up, and Herbert is able to be Herbert, I think this is going to be a good game for us.
Yeah, I think you said it well. And that's the big question with this Chargers team, right? You just don't know from week to week what we're going to get with them. My heart hopes that the bye week helped us right the ship and reclaim our identity, and each individual, check themselves as well. And, as they're part of this bigger picture, it's not football's the greatest team sport, right? And so the team played as a team really well this week. Can we string 2 weeks in a row? It is in prime time. It is a home game for us. So Philly is traveling west, and they are playing prime time now. Both teams have an extra day to prep for this game. So that, gives Philly a little bit of help with the whole travel thing. They get an extra day, and it's a night game. But yes, can we put together a quality game plan and execute against Philly even remotely close to what we executed against the Raiders? We can. Will we? You just don't know. This team has been so inconsistent. Now is the time, Coach Harbaugh and G. Rowe and Minter. Now is the time, and all of the players, now is the time to get consistent, and consistently good, by the way, not consistently bad. So it's going to be a fun one, and it's prime time, so the whole country's going to be watching. Are the Bolts going to be the Jaguar Bolts, or are they going to be the Bolts that started out the season 3-0?
Or the Pittsburgh game, that was a great game. They were still rolling at that time, so.
Well, that was a beautiful game. If we can replicate that physical dominance against Philly, we're more than capable. We are more than capable. Can we do it? That's what's going to be really exciting about this game. We've got an opportunity in prime time. These players seem to perform well in prime time, so they're going to get another opportunity, which is awesome, and prove that this is a good team as we're going into this 5-game home stretch and claim our playoff spot. We got 5 games remaining against all playoff caliber teams, despite the fact that the Chiefs are 6-6. They're still the Chiefs, and so they don't have a losing record, and they're still the Chiefs. So I'd say they're still a playoff caliber team. And if you go look at some of these odds makers, they've got the Chiefs over the Chargers as their odds of making the playoffs. So, we need to take care of that game too. Okay, just because they're 6-6, they're still the Chiefs. They're still a division foe. And by the way, not getting ahead of myself, but next week, not this week, next week, that's a road game in KC. It's going to be cold. And so, cold weather game, bring your defense and bring your running game. Those things we can do. It looks like Jesse Minter's got his boys playing some good ball right now. So, this is going to be a fun Monday night game against a quality opponent. The whole East Coast is going to be tuning into it, right? Because it's Philly. I want to see our West Coast boys take care of some business and send them home with their tails between their legs. It would be really nice. And by the way, make a little statement to the rest of the league that, the Chargers are getting their stuff together down the home stretch.
Yep, yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a very exciting game. I I personally think their only scary parts of their defense is their DBs. They got some really good DBs, Quinion Mitchell, and then Cooper DeJean, and then Blanken, whatever is Blankenship, I think his name is. Um, but
No
all
Dawkins though. He's retired, right?
yeah. So honestly, it's only their.
Jeez.
Oh, I didn't realize Brian Dawkins. Um, yeah, Brian, that would be bad. But I think the D line, I think our O line can easily manage that. If Minter takes care of business on defense, I think our offense will. If it's gonna just go straight up, like I don't think if we keep it under control on their offensive side, we're going to keep it. We're going to crush it. I don't think if we don't do anything on their offense, I don't think we're going to do a shootout. So Minter really has to keep them on wraps. And they can get flustered really fast as an offense. Everybody's always making stuff up with them with Nick Sirianni and AJ Brown, always some drama with the Eagles. So you can make them flustered. So as long as we keep them handled on the defense, the offense is just going to only go up, in my opinion, when it comes to
Yeah,
points.
and I always kind of sound like a broken record, but I believe this is, in most cases, not in all, but in most cases, it is a winning recipe, which is ball control offense is the best defense, right? So if we can run the ball and keep their offense on the sideline, which, by the way, means our defense is on the sideline fully rested, which means when they do get on the field, they can play fast with their hair on fire. It's a winning recipe. The longer you can hold the ball as an offense and keep their offense on the sideline, and by the way, wear down their defense, right? It's a winning recipe. So that's what I see coming into this game. How's Justin? Is he playing, which I suspect he will, and how effective will he be? Bring that running game, pack that thing up, bring it this Monday night. Looked really, really good against the Raiders, and we've had a couple games this season where our running game showed out. Hold the ball control offense. There's no reason why we can't take care of business against these guys. And kind of, again, we've had some opportunities this season to have some statement games, and we've performed in them. And then we turn around and lay a stinker against the Jags, So now's the time to take care of it, and I think we're capable. Which team's going to show up? That's the big question for me. Which team's going to show up and play ball for the Chargers this Monday? But it should be exciting. This is a dangerous team if we don't take care of our business.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're the Super Bowl champions for a reason. So, we got to take care of business when it comes to playing the Eagles. If we beat them, I think our chances are really good. I feel like if we make 10 wins, we're in the playoffs based off of the factors of who we beat and our divisional wins and who's currently in the other divisional spots. So I think this would be a really big win. I feel like if we just go 2 out of the 5 or 3 out of the 5, I think we make playoffs. And I think this game is definitely a winnable game. So I think you said it perfectly. I think we touched on this pretty well. Now the only thing we can do is watch and see if they can execute.
Yeah, if we can pull off 3 of these 5, I would be ecstatic. Especially if one of those 3 is week 18. It's really interesting to see how the schedule is shaping up, and the fact that week 18 is in Denver against the Donkeys. If the stars align, can they sustain this luck that they've been having this season. I mean, they've been scratching and clawing and winning these close games. Maybe they can. Maybe they can sustain it this whole season. I've seen enough football to know typically, unless you're the Chiefs and you have the refs in your pocket, you're not able to do that. And there's going to be a game or two where you just aren't able to scrape that close one out. So if they can drop one, we pick one up on them, and here we sit in week 18, head to head. While it's not probability-wise the highest probability, the division is it's still there. There's potential that we could actually win the division after this up and down season. But I do believe 2 wins gets us in a wild card spot. So and keep Justin upright, of course. This is going to be a fun primetime game to watch. Luckily for us, it's a home game. I think we really need that. And then I think we got 2 road games after that. 3 of the next 5 are road. We've only got 2 at home. I think it's Texans at home and Philly at home. The rest are road games. I could be wrong. Maybe it's the Cowboys, but I think we're going to Arlington for the Cowboys game. Last thing I kind of had to touch on was 98% of the G-Row haters are probably now quiet for another week. They were out last week, the week before, torches and pitchforks and G-Row's got to be fired. And, I threw myself on the sword in last week's pod. It's like, I understand why you're saying it, but saying it is naive. Understand the full dynamic of it instead of just G-Row should be fired. You can say it all you want, doesn't mean it's going to happen. And by the way, who are they going to replace him with if they fire him? And by the way, I think one of the things that's super, super important about a head coach is feeling comfortable with his coordinators. And I don't know if there's another human being other than John Harbaugh that Jim Harbaugh may be comfortable having as an OC, to be completely honest with you. And so, the analogy I used last week is these guys are like stepbrothers, man. Shake and bake, they can complete each other's sentences. And G-Row showed out, he showed out last week. That was G-Row that came out in that game. Can we continue it? And so that's the only thing I was going to mention there is, maybe we quieted the natives, or G-Row quieted the natives for at least a week. Now we'll see what happens after Monday.
Yeah. Personally, I think he's naive too, but I think during the season, nothing's going to happen during the season. Off season is when you can talk about stuff like this. Personally, I do think we have to reevaluate this off season. I'm tired of just getting stuck up short or being bad. G-Row made it to the AFC Championship a lot of times, but he couldn't get it done. It's just like the regular season. Sometimes he cannot just get it done. And I don't know what it is for me. This is just like a little funny little thing. It puts a bad taste in my mouth when those OCs are up in their little nice warm little place and they're like, oh, I'm going to call up play. Be down with your boys. Be in the fire, man. What are you doing? Jesse Minter, all the other coaches are on there and you're up there in your cute little warm little area and you're calling shitty plays. You could probably see the field better if you were on the field. So I love G-Row. I think he's better than a good amount of OCs in this league right now. I don't want to talk crap on him, but if we want to win a Super Bowl, I think we need a little bit of a different coordinator, in my opinion, when it comes to the offense. Because I think we're going to keep coming up short, in my opinion.
I think that's a common opinion. And I think that's why the haters are out when we're having these inconsistencies.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how much they're factoring in. You build the team to play a certain style, and then your studs are all out.
Injured, yeah.
And, and you're trying to cobble together the rest of the guys to play a certain style. And I think we've seen Giro trying to adapt with what he's got. But I will remind you, every year that Harbaugh has been a coach in the NFL, he's only had one guy as his OC. Every year, Harbaugh's been a head coach in the NFL, and he's been very successful. He's been to 3 NFC championship games and 1 Super Bowl. Didn't win it, but I was just watching that Super Bowl, the Harbaugh Bowl.
They almost won it.
Over
Thanksgiving.
It was close. Dude, that was one hell of a comeback. And if you're going to tell me that Colin Kaepernick is better than Justin Herbert, you need to put down the crack pipe. All right. So, and by the way, they had a beast of a line, but I'll put Rashawn Slater and Joel up against Ayupati and all those other dudes they had back then. So they've got a certain recipe. It's not the sexiest recipe, and when you don't have all your ingredients, it can leave a pretty nasty taste in your mouth. But I agree with you too, which is definitely not in the middle of the season. Okay,
Yeah.
This is not the time for the haters to be out. And by the way, I don't care how good of a team you are, if in the off season you aren't completely evaluating yourself, literally down to the studs, then you're probably not a good organization. And so Spanos and Harbaugh probably need to get together in the off season and go, do we have the best people in place to get to where we want to go? And if they go through that process and come back and go, yes, we do, great, move forward. Let's hope Jesse Minter doesn't get freaking scalped from us anytime soon, by the way. All right, that's all I got, man. You got anything to add as we wrap this bad boy up?
None too much. I just want to tell the Chargers fans to keep the faith. It could always be worse, no matter what. Even with our injuries, I think this regime is different, and it's always felt different. So I think there's good things ahead, and no matter what happens next game, you got to keep the faith up, and we can't be too negative because that can affect the team's culture. That can affect everything when all of their fans are against them because they lose one game. It's okay if we lose. We just got to make sure to get back onto it. The main thing is to get to playoffs, and we don't get by that, and we don't get to that by beating the Eagles. Unfortunately, when it comes to that week, we're going to have to keep consistently going at it. So it's okay if we lose because we still got plenty of games to get those 2 wins.
Yep. Keep things in perspective.
Yeah.
The goal is to make the playoffs right now. I knew the moment Slater went down that we were going to have a tough road to climb this season. And then Alt going down 2. Are you kidding me? So the fact that we're where we're at this point, it's amazing, quite frankly. While it's been painful, it's been amazing. And keep the faith, Bolt fans. Everything we want's still in front of us. It's going to be an interesting next 5 weeks. And I think 2 gets us in like we talked about. So don't hang your hat on just one game. But, I've seen a lot of crazy things happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we could sweep the next 5 games. I mean, I've seen we could get on fire, or we could tank. I mean, this team is so unpredictable right now. So, Bolt, TF up, get behind this team, enjoy the fact that we are in the running, and we've got 5 really, really interesting games starting this Monday night against the defending Super Bowl champs. Brennan, haven't done this for a couple weeks. Game predictions for Monday night. I'm putting you on the spot. You get to go first.
Sounds good. I think it's going to be a super close game, down to the wire. So I'm going 24-21 Chargers, winning by a field goal.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like you're kind of thinking along the same lines I am. I don't think this is going to be a super high scoring
Because
game.
Cam Dicker's a former Eagle. If people forgot, so
I didn't remember that at all. I mean, I know young
he
kickers
went.
bounce around a little bit.
Yeah, he bounced. He went there. Won special teams of the week. Got released. We picked him up, and then the rest is history.
Thank goodness we picked him up.
Yeah.
Dicker's been my heart rate doesn't go up quite as much when he's standing over a kick as it has ever since. Oh my goodness, it's been quite a while. I don't want to say Carney. We've had who was it after Carney that was a pretty doggone good kicker, but yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game. I do think it's going to be a tight contest. I'm going 17-13 Bolts.
I like that prediction too.
It's going to be a nail-biter, I think. And I don't... Like I said, man, I would love every week if we just beat everybody by 40 points and I could sit on the couch and not stress. You know? That's pretty rare. It's pretty rare these days for any team that they can do that. And so I think it's going to be a close one. It's going to come down to the wire, which most NFL games do. And it's not going to be a shocker if, Cam Dicker's kicking the game-winning field goal with less than a minute left on the clock. So it's going to be interesting to see how the whole Justin thing plays out and Trey Lance thing plays out. Expecting Justin to be there and to carry the load and have Trey pick up some of the slack on some of those short yardage plays. So we'll see how this pans out this week. All right, Bolts fans, that is it for this episode of Chargers Cast. Again, really appreciate you guys hanging out. We're just a bunch of fans talking ball, talking about our Chargers, and trying to keep it real. We're not professional X and O's guys or anything like that. So really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We'll be back next week, see how this Monday Night Football game goes, and talk about any roster-related, Chargers-related, extracurricular news not associated with a specific game. And then we will also begin chatting about the what is it, week 14. God, we're getting late in the season, man. Week 14 game at KC, a December game at KC. At least it's a daytime game. It's not a nighttime game at KC. That's going to be a fun one, and we'll chat about that. Hopefully KC continues to lose. Hopefully donkeys start losing, and bolt up. Brennan, you know the drill, man. Who's got it better than us Chargers fans, man?
Nobody,
my friend. All right, Chargers fans. You guys have a good week. Go Chargers.
Bolt up.
Bolt up. See you next week on ChargersCast. Hi, I'm Kirk Brewer, the creator and host of ChargersCast. I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of ChargersCast. We really appreciate you engaging with the podcast. When I created ChargersCast, it was intended to be a podcast about everything Los Angeles Chargers from a fan perspective. It's by fans and for fans. So it's for you, and we really appreciate you being here. If you haven't done so already, please go down below, leave a comment, give us some feedback. We really love to hear from you. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and click the little bell so that you get notifications when new content drops. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to ChargersCast. And who's got it better than us? Nobody.